This is the new Sony 16mm 1.8 lens, and I bought this with my own money, and I used 12 reasons to convince my wife that I actually needed this lens. So if you're looking for justification as to why you should buy this, well, look no further. But at the end of this video, I'm also going to tell you why you might not want to buy this lens. Stick around. First of all, 16mm is a very wide-angle lens, and sometimes you just want to capture a large vista. Second, a lot of 16mm lenses have a bulbous lens on the front, making it so you can't actually screw on a filter like a neutral density filter. But this has a standard 67mm thread, just like my 24mm and my 35mm prime. Next, this lens is super compact and lightweight. It only weighs 304 grams. This is great for gimbal work as well as just lugging it around. Next, this lens has the word Sony printed on it, which is very important to me. Not just from a snob appeal standard, although there is a little bit of that, but Sony are the only lenses that work with breathing compensation inside of these Sony cameras. And yeah, this lens is on that list, and it works fantastic. Here, let me show you. So with focus breathing compensation on, well, we can see that we've completely eliminated any focus breathing as we rack focus from near to far. But if we turn focus breathing compensation off, well, there is a little focus breathing. But you know what? That's another great thing about this lens, because even if your camera doesn't have focus breathing compensation, well, the focus breathing isn't much of a problem in this lens to begin with. The Sony brand also means it's going to have great autofocus, which means it has 2 XD linear motors in it that work fantastic. The next great feature is that this opens up to an f-stop of 1.8. Yeah, I'd prefer a 1.4 or 1.2, but 1.8 is pretty great. Here, let me show you. So at 1.8, you can see we're really blowing out the background. If I turn that to 2.8, well, you can see that the background isn't quite as blurred out. At 4.0, well, you still blow out the background, but not nearly as much. Here, let's go back to 1.8. Yeah, fantastic. Next, I really enjoy variety. I have 2 Sony Full-Frame cameras, and I'm planning to buy a third, so I need lots of lenses. And I don't really want to buy the same lens twice. So I don't have another lens exactly like this one. The only 16mm lens that I have is a 16-35 zoom lens, but that has an aperture of 4.0. So this is much better for astrophotography, low light photography, and also getting that very creamy background. Next, it has a de-clickable aperture ring, so I can adjust the aperture on the fly. I use this all the time, and it's a must for any lens that I buy. Next, this lens is weather sealed, so it's going to avoid dust, moisture, and sand. This next one is a huge one for me, and that is this has a very close focusing distance. Actually, 5.9 inches. 4.9 inches if you turn off autofocus. And next, even though this is an ultra-wide angle lens, it doesn't distort the edges. It keeps the lines really straight and smooth. I love it. Next, this lens is very, very sharp, even at 1.4. Sure, there's a little softness in the corners, and the pixel people will say, oh yeah, it has these problems or these issues. I'm telling you, I've never had a problem with a Sony lens in sharpness. And lastly, on my list of positives, this lens is pretty cheap. It's only $800. And there'll be some of you out there saying $800 is not cheap. Well, if you compare it to other Sony lenses in its class, this is incredibly cheap. My 16-35 lens, not a G Master lens, is going to cost you an additional $500. And of course, you could save yourself a few $100s by going to the Viltrox 16 1.8. But you know what? That lens is way heavier than this, doesn't close focus as well, and of course, has trouble with focus breathing. And now for the one reason that I wouldn't recommend this lens. And that's if you don't already own a 24mm or a 35mm. Because 24 and 35 are going to be much better for you in video than this 16. And why is that? Well, the 16 is pretty wide, so you're going to only use it at certain times, whereas you're going to be using your 24 and your 35 all the time. I went to the San Diego Zoo the other day and I made the mistake of only bringing this lens. And yeah, I got a couple of great shots, but most of the time I wish I had a longer lens. But there are times when you can only get the great shot that you want with your wide angle lens. That's why I do recommend this, but not as your first or probably second, probably not even third lens. Yeah, but for your fourth or fifth lens, this lens is fantastic. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. That's the easiest way to get this video out to other people like you who might enjoy it as well. And YouTube thinks that you'd enjoy that little video right over there because they know you better than you know yourself. Hey, thanks for stopping by.